Hi, my name is Lindstrom, and today I will be describing / teaching what I learned in my educational psychology class this fall semester, and how it will relate to my real-life teachings, being that I am pursuing a secondary educational teacher. There were many important things that were taught to me in this class, but I wanted to start with Piaget's cognitive development. I picked this topic first because I can relate to his theory of development the most. His 4 stages consisted of sensory motor, preoccupational, concrete operational, and formal operational. These stages focus on the development of problem solving and observing relationships that the students are already used to. In my personal experience, I've noticed this theory in place many times, but haven't noticed until I look back and realize what exactly I was going through. For my teaching, now that I'm aware, I want to focus on how kids are looking at one problem and try to show them a new way of finding a solution, using what they already know as a reference to help them learn. Which brings me to my next topic, and that is Vygotsky's cognitive development. Vygotsky believed that students use zone of proximal development as a mediation of learning. If a student was given not enough material to learn, they will simply give up, and the same goes as if they were given too much. As a future teacher, and after taking this class, I will make sure to focus on just how much my students are engaged for each lesson and try to find the happy middle ground for each and every student. Now that I'm focusing on each and every student, it is also good to look at Bronfenbrenner's layers of development. In this theory, students weave in and out of stages instead per se climbing the ladder. Students focus on what is important to them and classify in these layers. As a teacher, I will have to make sure that my students put my teachings in a ring that is important to them. To describe how I'll be able to connect with my students on a psychological level, I will look back what I learned about our lizard brains called the amygdala. I learned that we have this, and it forces us to fight, flight, or run. In this class, it taught me how to ignore my amygdala and focus on being outside of my comfort zone, which is the best place to be to experience the best learning atmosphere. I also learned that a tiger in a jungle is more experienced in fending for itself. It is more fierce and feared because it can conquer anything, whereas a zoo lion is handed its necessities to life. My teaching, I won't let my classroom become a jungle, but instead I'll show my students a pathway to help their learning fight. Everyone starts with an idea, and in this next section I learned about how we process our thoughts and memories. We start off by using our senses. We never really know what we're doing unless we focus on it. After that, our thoughts go through our short-term memory, which is stored for about 5 minutes at the most. After it surpasses our short-term memory, it gets stored in our long-term memory, which is unlimited. After taking this class, I will try to make my classroom so memorable that all of my students will take the information I'm teaching them through these stages and remember it for the rest of their lives. And not even just the curriculum, but some life lessons as well. Now you may ask yourself, Dylan, you say you're going to do all these things, but you haven't shared just how exactly you're going to follow through with what you say. And to that I would say I will use positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. Positive reinforced by giving my students rewards for behavior that I deem acceptable, negative reinforced by taking something bad away, or positive punishment letting them know that if they do something that I don't like, that they will then receive something that they don't like. Or negative punishment, which give them something bad for their bad behavior. Some examples of positive reinforcement would simply tell the students that they are doing a good job. In my experience, teachers would give candy if you completed your homework. Some examples of negative reinforcement would be if I were to take away homework from my students as a result of good behavior. An example of positive punishment would be yelling at a child if they misbehaved, or giving them extra homework. And lastly, an example of negative punishment would be if I were to take away recess as a result of bad behavior. Another method I will use is I will encourage students to space study, which is the act of studying in increments apart from each other. This method helps decrease the forgetful curve. I like to use the analogy of ordering food. If you try to eat all of the food in one sitting, you will get full and leave some behind, or if you space it out, you will have enough room to finish all of it. Space study has shown me that everyone has a chance to do very well in the classroom. All it takes is some organized time to complete every assignment, or a good grade by simply studying for X amount of hours one night and X amount of hours another night. It opened my eyes to better myself and really encouraged me to teach. We sat down and taught our other classmates how effective methods were, and I feel I thrived. From that moment on, I knew what I was teaching was impactful. The last method that stuck out to me was Skinner's test of salivating dogs. I'm not going to have my students drooling, but I will observe how they respond to my lessons and best teach them throughout the year. I will learn more from them learning rather than ignoring and hoping. This whole system is about being able to trust. Both student and teacher know how to effectively learn and teach. Being able to earn someone's trust is crucial for being a teacher. I learned about adapting and having every student trust me will help how I can adapt to their learning styles and for them to trust me that I'm not going to fail them. Growing up, you look up to so many people, and after taking this class, it is crucial to me to be that person for my students. To some, they will have their own role models they look up to, but others might not. And this class taught me just how I can best be there for them, whether they need me or not. In conclusion, this class was tremendous help for me to become a better teacher. I learned more in this class about myself, which will help me understand more students who might be struggling just like I was. This class made it in my mission to better our next generation of learners.